Hello and welcome to Southbridge. So in this video, you will learn how to get the value of multiple selected checkbox with the same name using the JavaScript programming language. So let's begin in our demo project. Here we have checkboxes of programming languages. So it says select a programming language you love. So let's say we select this JavaScript and then Python. Then we will click this submit button. So it says the values are JavaScript, comma, Python. And then we will try to select all the checkboxes. Then let's click the submit button. It will display all the selected values for our checkboxes. So now, let us start our coding portion. So here in my HTML file, I have a basic form. Then it has input elements with the same name as languages. Then different values. Then on every input element, we have a corresponding label element. Then we have two buttons. Button 1 is btn submit, and then the next button is btn check all. So first, we'll get a reference to our form element. So let's create a variable. Let's use the document that get element by ID. Then we will just copy this ID. Okay. And then we will create an event listener for our form. So form.add event listener. Then we'll choose the submit event. And then let's provide a function with a parameter e as the event. First is we want to prevent the form from submitting. So e that prevent default, and then we will now get the checkboxes. So var checkboxes is equal to document that get elements by tag name or by name. Then we will provide the name of our input checkbox. So the name is languages. So now let's try to display this in our console. So console.log checkboxes. Let's open our console. Then let's try to select a checkbox. Then we will click the submit button. So here we have a node list. It is an array of input elements. So as you can see, we have 5 input elements, which corresponds to the number of input elements we have created. So next is we have to loop for all the checkboxes and get the value if the checkboxes check property is equal to true. So let's create our for loop. Then the variable I is equal to 0. Then I, if I is lesser than checkboxes dot length, then we will increment the I variable. So next is we will check if the checkboxes check property is equal to true. So checkboxes that checked is equal to true. But since checkboxes variable is an array, then we will supply an index, which is our I variable. So if the current checkbox is checked, then we will use its value. So for now, we will just display this into our console so that we can check if it actually gets the check value. So checkboxes I dot value. So let's refresh, and then we will select two programming languages. We'll click this submit button. So here we have JavaScript and PHP. I will just display these values into an alert. So alert, then checkboxes that value. But I want to store this into an array. Okay, so let's declare var values. So for every loop that has checked is equal to true, then we will push the value into the values array. So values that push the checkboxes value. The values, then we will display all the values from the checkbox. Values that toString. So let's try this again. We'll select the JavaScript and the PHP, and then we'll click the submit button. So it says the values are JavaScript and PHP. And now we can just add the event for the second button, the button check all. So I will just copy the code. It will just set the check property into true. So let's try this in our browser, and then let's click the check all button. So that's how you can get the values of multiple checkbox with the same name using the JavaScript programming language.